And we are back live by demand. Great response. Thanks for all the messages. And we actually are getting messages. If you want to see them, I can share it. I always wonder if people are telling the truth when they get messages about these live videos and things. But we're back with Jason Deel. He sent an email yesterday with some unbelievable facts and just some strategies that he's implementing in his business that I thought remarkable. I've already taken notes, and I know a little bit about what he's going to say, but I'm going to turn it over to him and share this with any auctioneer friends you've got, because this stuff is going to be really good. Shane Train, how's the internet connection in Adams this afternoon?
We're good. I can hear you. Lima Charlie.
Great deal. All right, you guys take over.
Does he know what Lima Charlie means, Shane?
No.
Or licking chicken. Loud and clear. Jay, thank you so much for having me back on the show. Here's the deal. Here's what I want to go through tonight. I've shared this on a couple of different pages on the auctioneers page. And this is really what we want to, who we're talking to tonight is, I want to talk to the auctioneers. I feel like I'm on a Zoom call about every other night. And Shane and Jay, I know you do too. But this is ultra important. I'm going to give you some real stats of what's been going on within our particular auctions. And let me tell you, it's exciting stuff. It really and truly is. So we had two auctions close out this past weekend. We had an estate coin auction that had, I've literally have on my other screen, I've got the stats pulled up. I'm going to read off to you. We had an estate coin auction that closed out. We had 246 registered bidders. We had 536 lots within that auction. I spent a grand total of $250 marketing that auction, and I did very targeted, specific ads on Facebook. Now, I'm going to talk about that here again in a few minutes, but let me tell you guys, Facebook ads and Instagram ads are dirt cheap, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. So that closed out on Saturday. Sunday, we had an estate auction, very typical estate, nothing really spectacular. You know, there was no $10,000 pieces of art in there. Just kind of really basic estate items that we all see. We had 345 lots. We had 329 registered bidders. We had 50,000 people view that auction, 50,826 to be exact, and 345 lots. I spent a grand total of $450 marketing that auction. Now, of course, we all have our email list, hopefully, that you have created. And here's an easy win. Jay, Shane, I think you guys both know this. If you do not have an email platform, Constant Contact, MailChimp, if you're not capturing email addresses, obviously you're missing on some easy wins there. Shane, I think, do you guys use Constant Contact?
We do.
Yeah. Easy way to capture those email addresses, and you're simply reblasting, letting people know that, hey, be on the lookout. We got an auction closing soon. Now, what we have steps. So there is an example. So if you want me to reference a particular, if you want me to compare pre-coronavirus, I'll do it. I'm going to give you some real stuff here. I mean, this is like, no kidding. This is real stats. Just take a look at kind of what the health of the online community is doing right now. Is auctions winning? Are we doing okay? How are we doing? I'm going to go back and pull up an estate auction, Shane, that we did on February the 9th. February the 9th. Pre-corona, right? Mm. I mean, I don't even think we even heard about coronavirus on February the 9th. Let's take a look at it. This is it's called the Witt Estate Auction of Alcoa, Tennessee. We had 577 lots in that auction. Mostly collectibles. There was almost no furniture in that auction. Again, just kind of a normal estate auction. Get this. I spent $500 marketing that auction. Strictly social. Facebook and Instagram are the two places that I've marketed those auctions. Jane, you ready for this? 45,000 views. Now, if you think about what I said a few minutes ago, we had 50,000 views. on an estate that was smaller. We had 319 registered bidders, less registered bidders. Oh yeah, by the way, we spent more money marketing that auction pre-coronavirus. Guys, it's clear. If you right now, you got to be doubling down on content that you're producing, because that's the only thing that's really changed except for the coronavirus, right? The only thing that's changed is if you don't listen to what I'm doing, look and watch what I'm doing. And we have doubled down on organic content that we're sharing. Like today, Shane and I were just talking just before we went live. I did a 1 hour Facebook live video on site doing a pickup. I got a bit of a sunburn going on here, losing my hair. But it was great. We had tons of viewers. I booked 2 assessments since we did the Facebook live video. 2 people reached out. They saw the video. Now they're asking us to come over to their home, do an assessment. And it was free. I mean, I'm not talking about paid content, Shane. This is just free content.
Hey, so I know probably more about what you've got going on than most folks do, because I picked your brain and I kind of know you got a good thing going. You know, I watch a lot of folks and see what they do. And Gary V, I follow him. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Gary Vaynerchuk has had. He's a content-driven guy. He's a serial entrepreneur, super successful. A little coarse with the language is probably not best to point the kids that direction. But he said something, and then I watched one of your first episodes, and I know you brought a guy on full time to create content for you. And I know that comes with an expense, but I don't think you'll ever be able to justify getting rid of him at this point, because what you're doing and what you're saying right now is exactly what the rest of the world is saying that gets it. And that's what I mean by getting it is that you can spend all the dollars you want to with fancy backdrops and expensive gear. You can do all of that. But what people want to see is the true behind the scenes, the true nuts and bolts, the true 1 hour live video sitting out underneath the table or underneath the chair, on a chair, underneath the tree, and real talk. I mean, that now is what everyone's trending towards. And you can see all the folks that are on YouTube or on Instagram and Twitter, the ones that are producing content, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on all this fancy stuff. And then the truth is, people want to know what's really happening. They want to know what it really looks like behind the scenes. And that's where I think you have nailed it, because it's an organic connection that you have with your customer day one. They know what you're about. They know your story. There's no, putting lipstick on a pig, for lack of better terms. They know what they're getting when they first interact with you.
Yeah, and Shane, dude, you nailed it. I mean, really and truly, what you just said right there is absolutely on point. What I would say is right now, more than ever, is we have to be authentic. People want to see the real Shane McCarroll. They don't want to see a staged presence. They don't even really want to see you in a bow tie, dude. They don't even want to see you on stage calling bids. That's not what it's about right now. What it's about right now is they want to see the real you. And if you're okay with it, and here's the deal. We're not all okay being in front of the camera, and that's okay too, but you probably have somebody in your organization that is, and you just need to recognize that. So that's the first point. The second point is we all are on different levels financially right now. Some people, some of the auctioneers are okay with, you may not do another auction in the next 24 months, and you're okay, and you have a budget to be able to do paid social ads, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, be it LinkedIn, name it. You're okay with doing paid advertisements. Now's the time, if you're okay with that, with doubling down on those paid ads, because they're ultra cheap, because a lot of people have pulled back. A lot of people, I'm getting 3 cents a click right now. If you're not getting 3 cents a click, you need to call your marketing guy and say, hey, I just heard this guy, Jason Deel, talking about how he's getting 3 cents a click. How can we do that? So that's the second point is, but you don't, like you just, to your point, you don't have to dump a bunch of money in paid ads when It's free. Everybody has a phone. Set the phone up just like I did today, and we're having a conversation and we're doing Q&A, but it's just real talk and it's really authentic. And that's how you win right now.
Well, you have a captive audience. More than ever, we're sitting at home, a lot of, working from home. But, for example, my 8-year-old is going to school at private school on her computer every day. And that brings me to something that I Brantley before my internet connection got destroyed today. And I talked on with Tim Mast a little bit about this, but I believe that positioning yourself in the auction industry, and more so in your community and in your circle of influence, is most important right now. And the reason I'm saying that is if you think about multi-billion-dollar corporations like Budweiser, I don't know if you've noticed this, and this was mentioned in a Zoom call, you won't see a Budweiser ad on TV right now. If there is a Budweiser ad, it's going to be compassionate, it's going to be understanding, and it's going to be promoting washing your hands. So, you and I with a military background, when you are with people in certain situations of distress, you see their true colors. And you form a relationship with those people that are long lasting. And I know you've got a Rolodex of people across the country that you served with that you can make a phone call and they'll be there in a second. And I think the unique thing about those relationships is this is the same circumstance, if you will, in a civilian set where those relationships can be forged. And you need to forge those relationships locally, in your circle of influence, in your local chamber of commerce, in your local, Rotary Club, in your local business owners. Because if you wait until this is over to be the good guy, it's going to be too late. And be honest with you, if it's not natural for you to be the good guy right now, it's attrition. You're going to get taken care of anyway, because consumers will see through it. But what I'm saying is, don't be scared to get out there and really influence your community and do something good that might not make any money now, because that's what auctioneers are supposed to be. We're problem solvers in our communities.
Yeah, that's spot on. 2 days ago, Rick Meredith and I, who is the president of the Anderson County Chamber of Commerce, we came together. He is going to moderate. We are about to do a light stream studio broadcast. We're going to open it up to all entrepreneurs, and it's going to be entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. And it's just that. It's sharing ideas. It's being a leader within your community. That is what other business owners are looking for right now. And there is no ask. There's absolutely zero ask. And I think auctioneers in our profession sometimes have a really difficult time understanding that. Because guess what, Shane, we're used to saying, come to our auction, come on over here, place your bid now. Jay's got this awesome house, make sure you come to the auction. We're not built that way, but you need to figure that piece out and forget to ask, what can you be doing within your community? Because at the end of the day, an auction company, a business, is the same as a dry cleaning business. When you talk about expenses, you're talking about profit and loss statements. You're talking about how can you cut expenses right now, paying staff. It's the same premise at the end of the day. And I want to hit something real quick before I forget. I want to talk about content management. And I love Mike Brandley. I hope he's on here. He and I talk quite frequently, and Mike put something the other day that I raised my eyebrow on, but most people think the same way. When you're producing content, you do not need to be concerned of what other people are thinking about that content. Here's why. It's going to slow you down from producing content, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Jay thinks my content is good or not. If he gets on there and says, Jason, that was dumb, I don't care. I really don't care, because all I'm doing is trying to help someone else. If someone else receive value from that, that's what it's about. We are our number one, we're our number one competitor, quite frankly, because we think that everything's got to be perfect. Like my picture frames have got to be straight back here before I get online. I don't care if they're crooked or not. Let's just produce content. Don't worry about if your horses are hanging crooked in the background there, Jay. It's not that big of a deal. I think they're actually pretty straight.
It better be straight. Hey, a little update for anybody watching. Drew Williams, our Tennessee Auctioneers champion, Shane, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make it on the live stream this evening, but hopefully we can get him on soon. Jason, what you were saying about Mike Brantley creating content, I think, was great. May have been last week. I have a business coach who's been great for my business and just been wonderful. Pointed out that don't be afraid to call and talk to people. That, you know, right now we could be the phone call somebody is looking for. That you could be the answer to their problems. You know, whether you're calling realtors, attorneys with what cases they may have. We're still here, and we've got a great resource that we can use, which is the online method. It works. You've got the stats to back it up, and don't be afraid of what other people are going to think, because you're doing yourself a disservice and everyone around you if you're not reaching out to them, making sure they're okay, seeing if there's any way you can help them.
Yeah, that's spot on, Jay. Because that's exactly right. We get so caught up in the fear of how we're perceived, and instead we just don't make content. And we end up not reaching out to someone who may need help because of that fear of holding ourselves back. And that's absolutely the wrong attitude to have right now. And it's as bad as being an ambulance chaser going after someone and saying, "Hey, let me liquidate your assets." It's the same thing.
Jason, before I got cut off with Mike today, I was going to ask him about the content he put out. And you may be familiar with this, but I love to get your response with it because you're killing it. I think you've got 5 auctions, online auctions, you know, that are going to close within the next 7 days, or a couple that already have. I mean, I know you're busy, but here's the thing. Because I think online auctions are the wave of the future. I've said it before. I don't think live auctions are ever going to go away. But here's the deal. We are in a buy it now, click it and ship it society, period. You cannot deny that. I mean, ask Jay today, his best experience he's ever had at the electronics store was today when he pulled up to the curb and got curbside service. So here's my question. There's auctioneers all over the country that run 24-hour online auctions, 72-hour online auctions, 7-day online auctions. Everything's as is, where is. Some people will put see description in photos, not give you a description. You have to pick it up when we tell you, okay? You have to schedule with us. And if you don't like it, you got to keep it. We want you to pay us immediately. We want you to register with a credit card. I mean, we basically write the opposite of Amazon, okay? Our terms and conditions for online auctions, I mean, who wants to wait 7 days? I've got something that I have identified in one of your online auctions right now, but I can't even win it for 6 days, and I want to give it to my wife in 2 days. And Mike Brantley is the one who gave me all this content, and it's great. I agree with 80% of what I'm saying, but I'm curious to know, how do we dumb down our process and start getting the millennials involved that want to click and ship all the time? How do we dumb it down and get them involved to where they can engage, see the product, and within 72 hours they can have it?
So I'll tell you, Shane. So here's my thoughts. Number one is, if we're going to price a buy it now item, we've got to have confidence that that price is proper, that that's a correct price, right? I'll give you a great example is we've got some material in our auction right now. Literally, it's 100% cotton material that our county is after to buy so they can start making face masks. The bid's already way higher than I thought. I'm afraid I'm going to come underneath a lawsuit of price gouging based off of the Texas case, to be quite frank. But we've got to be able to evolve with that, number one. Number two, we've got to ensure that we've got the staff within our facility to ensure that we're properly pricing those items. Because the last thing that we want to have is we price a baby grand piano at $1,500, because based off our experience, baby grands, we all run from them. But fact of the matter is, It sold as soon as you popped the buy it now on there, and it really could have sold for 2,500. That's the danger we get into because we're not in retail. These are not new in box type items that we're selling. So there's a lot of subjectiveness that comes into that play. Now, with all that being said, if we can continue to evolve and make sure that we have team members on our staff that potentially specialize in those items, hey, that's great. There's no reason in a 500 lot auction that you can't have 300 pieces that are buy it now. But remember, we're selling generally full estates. That's a lot of expertise to go everything from China to rocking chairs to be able to name that particular price to ensure we're getting proper value out of, which is why the auction process works. So there's got to be a mix, right? There's got to be a happy medium in there, which I think that we can all get to, but we just got to continue to evolve and stay in tune with that. Great point. Great question.
Jason, we're at the 20-minute mark here, so you go as long as you'd like to. Last thing Mike Brantley said, which very opinionated fella, like him a lot of things he says, gets a lot of pushback. It was several years ago on the Talking Fast podcast, if anybody watched the stream earlier, where he put, if you're having an auction, a real estate auction with reserve, you may not be wrong by putting out there what the reserve price is, or quit, dancing around the subject and tell people what it is. You may actually get more people to come to the auction. I don't know who's willing to try that strategy first, but obviously in Tennessee, we don't have to disclose reserve prices and things. But do you ever do that? Do you ever try to put that out there, or do you ever offer a buy it now on a piece of real estate? Because aren't you just taking away the auction aspect of it, which is why people call us to begin with?
So, Jay, I listened to that podcast, the one that you guys did today. I'm driving in my truck, and I'm consistently scratching my head. I've heard Mike's theory on that. Gosh, I wish we could pull Mike in right now because I'd love to have a debate with him. At the end of the day, Jay, what you just said was a loaded question that if you have a $100,000 home, first of all, how did you determine that it's worth $100,000? Okay. Did you run a CRM against it? Great. Did you look at market saturation? Great. Did you compare apples with apples and not a home that's been completely remodeled versus a home that's not? So how did we come up with $100,000 is the first question that you got to ask yourself. If you feel the home is worth $100,000, you put a reserve of $75,000. Why are we having an auction right now? Let's just go ahead and list it for 100. Number one, because now are we suppressing competitive bidding if we say a home is valued at this price, but yet at the same time we're saying it's a buy it now price? Because here's the deal. Right now, buyers are more intelligent than they have ever been. Period. End of story. 93% of all homes that are bought, there's a NAR survey, says that home buyers found that home online. What do you think they were doing when they found the home? They're comparing other comparable homes, right? They know the value. They know it. The only thing that the auction process is doing is maybe getting an extra several $1,000s or not. I'm not ready to make that plunge. If I've got a home with reserve, I'm not going to publish what the reserve price is if it's even known. Quite frankly, I'll tell you, I've already been giving away some trade secrets. Here's how JD's Realty and Auction does it. I don't care to put this out. We don't establish the reserve price. If the auction starts at 2 o'clock, the reserve price is established at 2:15. The bidding is going. I have a conversation if I know that home has a reserve on it based off the number of bidders, based off the marketing data, because if you've taken AARE, you understand the process, because on Friday, the day before the auction, we laid everything out, looked at marketing data based off what people were saying at the open house. We had a really good understanding of what the home was going to sell for before Saturday even came about. We already knew the home was going to sell for about $95,000. So I'm not ready to make that plunge, because if we did, there again, I'm just going to give it to one of my agents. They can list it.
No, that makes sense, JD. And I know that in talking with you before, we talk about it a lot. I truly believe that there's auctioneers that are out there that are booking auctions because they want to put a sign in the yard, want to put a sign in, at an intersection, or put an ad in the paper. We try really hard to manage all expectations up front. As a matter of fact, Philip loves to say that if we put a sign in the front yard, it's going to be the next house sold. That doesn't mean we don't book them with reserves, but we don't book them with reserve very often. And what you just said, data heavy, if you manage expectations up front and you present your case with as much data as you've collected, one or two things are going to happen. You're going to get the deal done, or it was never going to get done in the first place, in my opinion. And, you're data driven. That's what's important. You're not, it's not what you think, it's what you know because of the experience. And I think Jay is probably going to get charged $1 a minute here if we don't jump off soon. So, I think we could do this anytime, and we probably should set up a Zoom and just kind of what I was going to do, JD, and I know you're going to do it with the entrepreneurs, but we need to look at Tennessee specific. If we can get about 20 or 25 Tennessee auctioneers on a Zoom call and just maybe, 45 minutes to an hour of just kind of tossing it around and throwing some ideas around, it'd be just as good as any CE course we've ever taken. That's for sure.
No, and really and truly, I'll be happy to share the spreadsheet that I use. I've got about 5 different slides that I show the clients 24 hours in advance of the auction, and I lay everything out. Here is what the marketing data has been saying. Here's what the people who came to the open house has been saying. Because again, what you just said is managing expectations. There's no surprises on Saturday. There's absolutely no surprises. We already know where we're going to be. We can guess about how many people are going to show up. I don't need to do the advertising on the left bid. But to Mike Brantley's point, does it bring in more buyers? Maybe. But Jay, you're going to have to try it and let us know. Did you hear that?
I don't know if he heard you or not.
I heard it. Jay, did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that. You guys are giving me a lot to think about here. So carry on. I'm just listening. So don't worry about me. Maury Perry's going to bust in here.
I tell you what would be awesome, right? Is if we could go in together, let's buy a $100,000 house. Let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? We lose 33 apiece.
I'm in.
I'll do it. Yeah. Find a house, Jay. Let us know. Let's go invest and let's just give it a shot. And let's do it in 7 days, by the way. Let's have an auction in 7 days, because I fully believe. So here's another misnomer, whole other avenue. We got 3 minutes left, I guess. Whole other avenue. I think that we can have a real estate auction from start to finish, sign the contract, have the auction, 7 days, done.
You're muted, Jay,
if you're talking.
He's got a new fancy microphone.
Hey, I know I like it, but your wife said it's got a big echo on it, so I'm trying to figure it out. It's driving me nuts.
I don't have an echo. You're good. All right. So what you're saying, JD, is contract is signed on Monday. You're saying as soon as the following Monday, or switch that from a Saturday to a Saturday, that you think you'll have just as effective of an auction as if you marketed it for 21 days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can show you statistics why that is. Be happy to do a screen share or a Zoom call.
I think it's possible. And here's the thing, you might not have as many people in the front yard, but you'll have as many buyers there. Because most of the folks that are in line to buy a house don't need 30 days to prepare their finances anyway. They're ready to buy the house now.
That's right. And look at any of the last Zillow or Realtor upload that you've done. Use My State MLS, use your MLS, whatever. Look at your activity. It starts high and it continues to slowly progress down. Just like the coronavirus, hopefully.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Jay, we got 30 seconds. Wrap us up. Take us home.
Well, hopefully we can get the TAA champion on here soon. We're going to have several board of directors from the TAA on here in the next few days. Eddie Abel's going to talk about Mule Day and how they've had to change the date there and talk about why competing in that is so important to the community. We're going to join Friday, I think, with the Kentucky Auctioneers Association President Sean Logston. Thursday, I believe, if we can get contract arrangements agreed to, we'll have the 2012 NAA IAC champion Justin Oakes joining us on our live stream. And I'm sure there'll be plenty to hear about from him. And hopefully we can get Drew on here soon. I hate it that he couldn't join us here tonight. But thank you all for watching. And by the way, if you want to do what we're doing, just go down here to Go Live Stream. This whole thing is free to stream live on Facebook. And you can do this on your own business page and interview people just like we've been doing. It's gotten great response. We've jumped up 80 plus people liking the TAA page since we started this. And I think our two biggest draws were Mike and Tim Mass this week. And then our very first episode was really strong too, with over 1,000 views. But thanks for watching, and I appreciate you guys hopping on here. Thanks a lot.